Thank you for joining us today. We have the capability to access student email accounts, and every single student here in the building has an email address. And we're just going to walk you through how to access your email so that you can use this now and through high school. And so you can get used to using email and learn how to do it. So in order to access your student email, you will need to go to ClassLink, and then you will click on your Google Apps. Right now, mine says staff. I just took a screenshot of my own. Yours will say, it'll look just like this, except it'll say students in parentheses. And then you will have a menu of apps that appears, and you'll have to look. It might be in a different spot on your list of apps, but you will want to, you will want to look for the one that says Gmail, and you will just click on that to get into your mail.
And this is really the easiest way, we believe, that you can get into your school email, your Gmail. But you can go to mail.google.com, and that will open up a browser that you could log into your school email that way as well. But if you go through ClassLink, it will already do that for you, as we know with ClassLink. So that will take you to your email inbox. A message will pop up because it's the first time you're accessing it. At that point, just click Get Started, and then another message will pop up talk about it live. Just read the message and click Done. And then there'll be a third message that you see from the district, and it is called CoFence Reporter. This is used by the district to report malicious or phishing emails. All of our staff has this software as well. So if you do ever receive an email that seems like a phishing email, or it seems like not a legit email, like it might be malicious, you can use CoFence Reporter to report that email. But when you first get into your email inbox, just click OK when the box pops up during your first login.
And this will only be during your first login that you'll have to click those three OKs or get started. After that, it won't pop up. So to compose a message in your student email, you will click the compose. It has a little pencil. It looks like pencil. You'll click on that. When the new message screen pops up, you're going to type the email address of the person to whom you're sending in the to line, and the subject of the email in the subject line. Once you've completed these two steps, you can compose your message and then click send. So on this slide, it's just a sample of what it'll look like. A little pro tip here: when you are typing to a recipient, you can just start typing their last name, and then it will populate with all the people with that last name, and you can click on them. So you don't necessarily need to know your teacher's middle initial, because it's first letter of their first name, first letter of their middle name, and then their last name. So if you just started typing Beinecke, B-E-I-N, then you'll be able to see Mrs. Beinecke's name and picture come up. So that's just a little pro tip, so you don't have to stress about if they're within the South Fayette network, you don't have to stress about knowing the full address.
So this looks pretty similar to the Canvas inbox, which you're familiar with, but this is your own email address, and it is connected to your Lions.net account, which most of you already know. So your South Fayette email address is your first name and middle initial at Lions.net for the most part. Our example is Taylor Allison Swift, would be T.A. Swift at Lions.net. We are going to get a little bit more into this, but we do always want to make sure you know email should only be used to communicate regarding school-related information. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but this is not a personal email address. This is an email address that is connected to your school account, so it should only be used for school-related material and information. As we were talking about Canvas inbox notifications should be synced by Friday. When you receive a message through Canvas, it will connect and should connect to your South Fayette email address. So when you receive a Canvas inbox, you'll receive a notification to your email that you've received an inbox in Canvas. So that can be another reminder for you to access Canvas for that information. It may not happen right away because we have opened these for students. It takes some time to sync. It might take overnight. for those things to happen through the system. So give it some time, but by the end of the week, we should be able to access notifications from Canvas in our school emails.
And as Dr. Maurer was beginning to say, with the proper use of the email, we talk about the South Fayette Way and how we always want to be safe, kind, and responsible. And this is very much related to how we use email as well. So being safe, we always want to keep personal information private and not in an email. So you don't want to be sending your address, your physical address. You don't want to be sending your social security number or your passwords or anything that is private through an email. And you only want to use your district email to contact people within our school community or for school related purposes. So if you want to enter a Scope Magazine writing contest, now you can use this email to email your submission. So using it just for school related projects or school related information. And then being kind, using good manners and being polite when you use your school email account. And then being responsible. Your emails in your inbox represent you. And just like with anything on our school computers, they are owned by the school district. So just know that if there's something that's questionable or someone might be misusing it, we do have access to that and would have to work through that, through our code of conduct.
And when we talk about the South Fayette Way, we always talk about the examples and non-examples. What are the do's and don'ts? And as we said, the email, we want you to use it to communicate with your teachers. You can certainly do that. If you have questions about assignments, this is now another way to communicate with your teachers. We want you to use email to apply for those school-sponsored contests, competitions, maybe it's club communications. You now have that ability to do that. You can use your email to communicate with classmates for school-related projects or to coordinate school-related communications. But what we don't want happening with our email is using it to communicate with friends for personal matters. That would be personal use devices. That would be personal email addresses, text messaging, things like that should not intertwine with this. This is separate. We do not want you using email to contact people for non-school related matters. It should not be used to bully or harass any other students. And finally, it shouldn't be used to subscribe to any unauthorized sites. Only those authorized, those teacher-directed things should we be using in that regard. So these are kind of the list of the do's and don'ts for email, and we wanted to make sure we went over that, as well as just best practices. So as we kind of go into our best practices, we're going to talk a little bit about etiquette, and it's for anyone that uses email. This is going to be something not just as a student in South Fayette, but as you continue to grow and go into a career. We talk about email etiquette all the time and how to use it appropriately.
So whenever you are sending a message, you want to make sure you have a proper greeting that shows respect. Remember, inboxes and emails, they're like digital letters. So it should be dear Mr. or Mrs., hello, Mr. or Miss, as your greeting. And then a subject line is important. Keep it clear and specific. So question about math homework, that would be a good subject line. Meeting tomorrow, that would be a good subject line. So making sure that you're using proper greetings and showing respect within the email inbox.
Also, making your message clear. It should be short and focused. Using complete sentences is always preferred. You want to check your spelling. There will be spell check kind of embedded in Gmail and Google. Use it. Be polite. Use please and thank you in your emails. State your purpose clearly. An example we put is, I have a question about tomorrow's science project. Could you please help me understand what materials I need to bring? You see, it's a complete sentence. It's well written. It's short. It's concise. It's focused.
You also want to avoid using poor form, no emojis or text speak like just the letter U or the letters UR. Don't use all caps. All caps in email is like shouting at somebody. So we don't want to use all caps. Avoid sending messages late at night. You never want to be demanding in your email messages. And don't send unnecessary emails. Skip the slang words. And remember, this isn't social media. This isn't a place to just kind of say your thoughts. It's email here is for a purpose. And I want to make a note about that. Very much like your Canvas inboxes, our teachers, they're here and they're available to you during the school day. But if you send an email in the evening, your expectation should be that the teacher will address it within 24 hours, but certainly not if you send it at 6 o'clock at night and say, I can't remember what tonight's homework is, they're not going to send you a message back that evening. So please know that. I know that, many of your teachers have talked to you about your Canvas inbox with that, but the expectation is that you do not expect that a teacher is going to, it's not a text, you're not sending them a DM. They're not going to immediately respond to you. So you want to make sure that you are aware of that and not expect that if you say, I can't remember what tonight's homework is, that they're going to write you right back and say, oh, it's chapter 4, questions 1 through 5.
And the last part of the email that we wanted to go over was finishing the message properly. So ending each message with a polite closing. Remember, you're communicating with your peers and with the adults in the building, the staff members. So double check that message before you click send, but make sure you're adding things like thank you for your time, sincerely, best regards, those type of things. Thank you. That's just respectful communication with your peers and your teachers and the staff members that you work with. Sign your full name and double check everything before sending. And as Dr. Cremone said, wait patiently for a response. If you're sending that message, know that that takes time for the other person to receive it, to read it, to open it, and to respond.
And then just a quick review, make sure that we're using proper greetings and closings, that we're writing clear subject lines, that we're keeping messages polite and focused, that we're using proper grammar and spelling, and that we are being patient and respectful in all of our communications via email, via Canvas inbox, and really using this tool as it was intended to be used as a middle school student.
We are excited for this new kind of line of communication for our students, and we hope you are just as excited to be able to use this. We find that it will be very helpful in a lot of situations that we've run into where it would be helpful if students had email and were able to communicate in this way. So we hope that you're excited about it. We hope that you will use it appropriately. We wanted to leave you with a kind of a sample message, a sample email here to Mr. Johnson. You can see the email address in the 2. The subject is question about science homework. And then here you have the body of the email, Dear Mr. Johnson, the message of the email, the question, and then that ending, thank you for your help and I appreciate your time. Sincerely, your name. This is really how our emails should look as we send them throughout the rest of this year and moving forward as students through South Fayette.